program evaluation is a thing that we can use even on a large scale when we talk about the political landscape. Now, just to give you a quick definition, I like how this reads. Program evaluation is the systematic collection, analysis, and interpretation of data to assess the effectiveness and efficiency of a program. All right. It helps with determining whether that program is even worth continuing. It helps all of the stakeholders make informed decisions based on evidence that's been generated. OK, making informed decisions. And we have to ask ourselves, what type of decisions are being made when we think about the Strait of Hormuz is closed? Is that a good thing for the U.S.? Is that a good thing for the global economy? How does that help any of us? I mean, we've all seen the cost of gas increase quite a bit since, in the last, 2 months, 60 some odd days. I've lost track now. I can just remember back in the beginning of February, it was a lot cheaper than it is right now. Is it an effective thing that has happened where now we've been in this conflict with Iran? I would call it a war for more than 2 months, going on 3 months, right? The Strait of Hormuz is closed. The cost of petroleum and all of these things are being impacted. Global markets are being impacted. And we have to ask ourselves, is this good for the country? We think about all of the tariffs that have been implemented over the past year. Has that been good for the country? Because tariffs are taxes on Americans. OK, so for those who may not understand how that works, let's go through this. A tariff is where you are placing a tax essentially on the company that is importing goods from somewhere outside of the country. So, for example, to make it real simple, if I wanted to bring a widget from, let's say, it's made in China, and I want to bring it back to the U.S. to sell in my stores in the U.S., it's going to cost me additional money to bring it over from China. That tariff or that tax is paid by the American company. That American business is paying for that tariff, that tax, that extra money is paying that up front. That goes to the government. And now, and me as a person who has an undergrad in business, I also have my MBA. I can tell you right now that most organizations are not going to just eat those costs. So those costs are going to be passed on to consumers. And so now American citizens are going to be paying more money for the same goods that they were getting previously prior to the tariffs being enacted. Now, there are a lot of people that might want to argue you down on that, but I would say this. All you have to do is just look it up. I don't need to explain it to you. You can just simply look it up and you will see that a tariff is a tax on the importing countries' businesses that are actually bringing those goods in from other places, which they will typically pass those costs on to the consumers in that country. So the cost of goods are up. The cost of goods are up because have been some not so great policies. We have to be honest about that. The cost of gas is up because of decisions that have been made that are not benefiting really anyone. Now, the last time I checked, when someone says, oh, well, we were trying to get rid of the possibility of Iran enriching uranium, or they might be close to getting a nuclear weapon. If I'm not mistaken, this time last year, just about in June, I remember hearing that all of their nuclear capabilities had been obliterated. And the last time I checked, Iran does not have a nuclear weapon. And even if they did have one nuclear weapon, the U.S. has way more than one. So are we telling the U.S. that they should not have any nuclear weapons, or are we just telling Iran that they shouldn't have any? Very interesting how we look at that. The whole point is that when we think about decisions that are being made and policies that are being implemented, the things that are being enacted, you have to ask the question, who benefits? Who is benefiting from the decision? Who's benefiting from the program? And then we have to ask the question, is it even working? And if it's not working, then we need to come up with something that will work. And it doesn't seem that that's going to be the case, at least for a little while. So I would encourage everyone to think about The midterm elections coming up in November. We need to think about the people that we want to elect into office that's going to hear what we think, that's going to be concerned about what we need, and it's going to put us at the center of the decision-making process because ultimately they work for us, not the other way around.